Welcome to my first video. It's Friday the 13th, so what a perfect time to start. Tonight we're going to go over 3 stories that are sure to keep you from sleeping. Number 1, you need to go outside. I used to live in a house that backs up to a big public park where there are hiking trails, lots of joggers and people that walk their dogs. Anyway, one night I had a kind of creepy dream that an old lady came into my room and was trying to get me to go outside. The dream woke me up, so I got some water and turned off my fan because it was cold. I then went back to sleep. I went back into the same dream with the old lady coming into my room and calmly saying to me, "You have to go outside now." I kept telling her no, it's too cold outside. I woke up again and my fan was on. I figured I might have thought I turned it off, or perhaps the button got stuck. So I got out of bed, turned the fan off and went back to sleep. This time I had the exact same dream, except the woman was much older and she was really agitated. She was yelling at me, "Go outside, you must go outside." I got up in the dream and followed her to the hallway. When I got to the hallway, she wasn't there, at which point I woke up and I was actually stood in the hallway. I've never walked in my dreams before, and after this, I haven't either. Also, my fan was on when I went back into my room. At this point, it's fair to say I was freaked out, so I got something to eat, watched TV for a couple of hours, and then went back to bed at about 5 or 6. The dream didn't come back. The most fucked up part of all of this is a couple of days later, there were police cars down my street. I asked my mum what happened. She said they'd found an older woman who was reported missing a few days before. She must have had a heart attack or stroke or something like that by the trail. They had then found the body. Number 2, sleepwalking suicide. Soon after, 18-year-old Carissa Glenn moved into a new Cornwall flat. She began sensing a presence. She had the feeling that someone or something was there when she was alone at night, and she often brought this up with family and friends over the month or so that she lived in the flat. She could hardly have been that surprised. She had heard a rumour before moving in that the previous tenant had hung himself. According to her friends, she would have extraordinarily vivid nightmares about hanging, in addition to the feelings of being haunted. Her friends were concerned, as Carissa had a bad history of sleepwalking and acting out her dreams. And though the rumour that the previous tenant had been proved false, Carissa may have just been haunted after all. On the 14th of April 2008, the happy young woman who had been out for drinks with friends the evening before hung herself with a scarf. Well, her friends agree she had been happy, except for one thing. She sometimes didn't want to go back to her flat at night because of the presence and the dreams that she had. Number 3, the uninvited visitor. I'd like to share my story that brought about my belief in ghosts. When I was 15, I was homesick from school. We lived in a large house with 2 floors and an unfinished basement. I used the basement and had set up a craft room for painting and staging Warhammer figures in what was once a photographer's dark room. One day, it was noon, and my stepdad often came home for lunch. So, when I heard the telltale sounds of the front door opening, I figured I'd call my mother and let her know that he was home, and tell her that I was feeling better. As I dialed the phone, I listened to him close the door with a slam, and walk through the foyer into the kitchen, and turn on the tap directly above the craft room. My mum picked up the phone at work, and I told her that my stepdad was home for lunch. She told me that he wasn't going home for lunch, that he was really busy at the office. I froze in terror as the tap was shut off, and the person upstairs walked back through the foyer and up the stairs to the bedrooms. My mother told me to hide while she called my stepdad, minutes away, to come home. I crept upstairs, quiet as a mouse, and grabbed the largest kitchen knife, and then back into the basement to hide. My stepdad was home about 6 minutes later. He scoured the house and found no one. But here's the scary part. I never heard anyone leave. That's all for the stories, but before we finish, I would just like to ask you, imagine that the last story is you, and right now while you're watching this video, something or someone is in your household. You know they haven't left, but you heard them come in, and now they're here somewhere. Is it a ghost? Is it a person? And, well, did they really ever come in? How freaky is that? Let me know in the comments how you would feel to that. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please tell me if you enjoyed the stories, and if they were freaky. There'll be more to follow this, but for my first narration I think this is rather good. And on that note, please subscribe to my channel and give me a like. And with that said, we'll wish you sweet dreams. Goodbye.